going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you all have had a great Tuesday and a great week so far, a great start to your week. There's two main topics tonight, and one of it's Hurricane Larry, which I feel like we've been talking about for a month now, but not really, but it really seems like we have been as it churns away and starts to get into the North Atlantic. And then we have an Invest 91L, which confidence has increased that it could develop into a tropical depression or a weak tropical storm before eventually making whatever you want to call landfall in the Panhandle of Florida, the Big Bend of Florida. There is a 50% chance of it developing within the next pretty much 48 hours at this point. We're going to take a look at that. Then the Larry. For you guys in Canada and Newfoundland, I know I don't talk much about your region, but this really looks like a big-time threat for you guys, especially St. John's and this most easternly island here in Newfoundland. You guys can really get scraped Friday into Saturday. It's going to be a quick hitter, but it can potentially be very impactful, as you could potentially have hurricane force winds for a brief period. This can be a quick hitting, destructive storm, but we'll talk about that here in a second. Right now it's a 115 mile per hour storm, very strong storm. And so we'll break down both of these. First off, I do want to say that thank you all for the prayers. My little girl, she ended up having a really good day, so I appreciate y'all praying for me and praying for her. It's always a tough transition. For me, it's very hard to let go of my kids and to let other people watch them that I don't really know. I know a lot of parents out there can relate. It's just very difficult for me, especially when my kids clinging to my legs. So thank you all for the prayers. It's much appreciated. If you guys have not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button. Like the video if you like it. And thank you all for the continued support and giving me a platform to talk about what I love, which is the weather. So let's get going here. We're going to look at the water vapor loop. So down here at the corner of your screen, you see Hurricane Larry turning away. This is water vapor, so basically it demonstrates more moist air and more dry air, and where everything is right here. So you have the dividing line of dry air right here. This is basically because a cold front's kind of draping through here, and then another cold front's going to kind of reinforce it. You notice all these white clouds right here. That is also something that I did not mention in the past videos, but it's a little bit of a severe weather outbreak that's been ongoing in Michigan, getting into the Ohio Valley. It will lose some steam overnight, but there's been some pretty nasty storms that came off the Great Lakes into Michigan, and so I hope everybody's faring well there. But you see 91L down here, but check out Larry. Larry has an impressive outflow, meaning it's ventilating, it's holding its own. It's not really intensifying. In fact, it's probably going to slowly start to weaken as it picks up a little bit more speed and starts to interact with a cold front and begins to its turn north and then more northeast, and then eventually trying to affect areas of Canada. It's going to get really close to Bermuda. There's actually tropical storm watches out for you guys. But right now, it looks like the worst you're going to see is some huge waves for the islands, for the island of Bermuda, and maybe some outer bands, but that's about it. But healthy storm. It's been a healthy storm for several days now. Take a look at 91L. All it is pretty much a bunch of convection in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. There's no really low-level circulation, but there could be one before it makes landfall. But this storm, what's really against this storm is time. It doesn't have a lot of time because eventually it's going to pick up speed due to interaction with the jet, which is pretty much the cold front to its north. So it's going to run out of time, and that's good news because it's not going to have time to really develop. But it's a healthy-looking invest, if you will. It's actually lost a lot of its convection this evening, but we can see what it's going to do really in the next 24 to 36 hours as it churns away. So we're going to talk about both of these. So here it is, latest 8 p.m. update, a 50% chance now to develop here in the next 5 days. Really, just go to 2 days, and we can look at this. If my computer will stop taking 17 years to load here, but 50% chance to develop inside the next 2 days. So if this thing's going to do anything and become Mindy, we'll take a little bit more of a look at it too, then it's going to do so probably in the next 24 to 30 hours. Look at the latest cone of uncertainty for Hurricane Larry. It's a 115 mile per hour storm, moving kind of slow at 9 miles per hour. Tropical storm watches up for Bermuda, but check it out. It's got a huge chunk of Newfoundland, Canada here in the cone of trajectory. So this could potentially get dangerous. And this is, see, if you look right here from 2 p.m. Friday to 2 p.m. Saturday, it's a 24-hour period, but look how much ground it covers. It's because it picks up a lot of speed. So even though this is looking increasingly likely it's going to affect you guys up there, it's also looking likely it's going to be very quick. Now, something that I didn't know existed, I'll be honest, is the Canadian Hurricane Center. And this is it's pretty much the same idea as the Hurricane Center here in the U.S., and both of them agree. And I really love this outline, by the way. It's kind of got an old school look to it. I really like it. But they go by kilometers per hour. So 150 kilometers around Friday evening, then 120 kilometers by Saturday morning, so late Saturday morning. So that's 150 kilometers is, I think, like 93, 94 miles per hour, and U.S. way of measuring wind speed, and 120 is closer to around 75, 70 miles per hour. So basically it's showing it weakening between Friday and Saturday, but it's still hitting St. John's and the whole entire eastern areas of Newfoundland as hurricane strength. It's just going to be moving very quickly. You look at the latest GFS, it shows Larry, this is Larry, going right over the island, the most eastern area of the island. But we still have, I would say, about 2 days for this to tick back east and to get a little bit better news for you guys. But right now, does not look like great news, I'll be honest with you. The European is actually a very strong storm system as it starts to go post-tropical here, and really, unfortunately, hits you guys like St. John's very hard. I'm going to keep saying St. John's because it's the only, really, the city I know in Newfoundland right at the top of my head. I know that city, I looked it up earlier, has over 100,000 people in it. So, big-time storm system for sure. One thing I want to show here is the predicted wind speeds, and obviously it's an eyesore. You can see Larry, but look how it picks up speed. But this is around 06Z Saturday morning, so this is in the middle of the night, Friday into Saturday. This is 60, 70 knot winds, which is basically hurricane strength winds hitting this far eastern tip of Newfoundland, St. John's, really hard in the middle of the night. So you're not, a lot of you guys on way out there in the eastern tip of the island, y'all probably just aren't going to sleep very well. This is going to be something quick. Luckily, it's going to knock down trees. It's going to throw anything that's in the yard all over the place. So definitely fasten anything y'all got down. It's definitely going to be a powerful, quick-hitting system. Back onto the U.S. here, you have what could potentially be Mindy. And here it is. As we're actually getting into tomorrow morning, this begins to approach. And this actually might be centered somewhere else, but this is what the GFS is thinking as you're getting into tomorrow evening, into tomorrow night. This is going to make landfall potentially as a tropical depression, maybe a weak tropical storm Mindy. This might happen very quick tomorrow, so don't be shocked if all of a sudden you say, oh, you got a 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm Mindy hitting the panhandle of Florida. It's not going to be a big deal. What it's really just going to do is bring a little bit gusty winds and some heavy rain to Florida, and then southern areas of Georgia, and maybe even the coastal areas of South Carolina. You look here, right now it's dealing with some pretty low shear, so if it's going to get its act together, it's going to do it tonight, but then it starts to interact with some dry air and some shear. So in the meantime, if it's going to do anything, it really needs to start doing it now. The western Gulf of Mexico is much warmer than the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and that is due to the fact that Ida came through a little over a week ago, and really churned up the seas. It's called upwelling, which basically brings the cooler water to the surface. So that's helping for not being this explosive sea surface temperatures as far as very warm water. So that's good news. So it's going to prevent any, an added factor for any rapid intensification. So as far as rainfall, we'll look at the National Weather Service here. This is basically the biggest deal here. You guys could get, 2 to 3 to 4 inches of rain, maybe an isolated 5 inches of rain here in the Big Bend to areas of the Panhandle of Florida, and then maybe a couple inches of rain between now and this weekend here in southeast Georgia. But that's pretty much all I got, guys. Canada, watch out. I know I don't talk about Canada much, but it's worth mentioning because it really looks like a legitimate storm for you guys now. We've got a couple days for this to tick back east, but I'll keep y'all updated. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all, and y'all have a great night.